Good evening. Happy Monday. February is almost over. I think a whole bunch of us are sitting in a deep freeze, wishing it would warm up soon. Hopefully, that's going to come soon. I hope you're all doing well tonight. It's so good to see you all. Seems like we haven't seen you in a while. And tonight we're going to go through a couple of fun things and have a special feature. And we're going to do some training on the 4 pillars of growth. So I'm excited for that. I hadn't gone back to this in a while, and it was good to have a refresher. So, Sheila, do you want to start us off with what's all happening in February that we need to be paying attention to?
Sounds good. Let's start off first of all with the fact that the free reset has been extended
Yes.
for Canada until the end of the month with a purchase of 130 PV. Guys, this is such a big deal, especially for the fact that this is the first month for the Mexico contest and it's double credits. So use this to your benefit. This is a really, really amazing promo to share with people, to encourage them to start. And right now you get double credits on all enrollments. So that is a huge, huge, huge win. Today, there's a Family Day slash President's Day sale. So Family Day in Canada, today only. So a few different products are up to 15% off in Canada. And then there's Alex's favorite combo is 17% off in the States. So that's happening today only. Super awesome. And then as for just the rest of the February promos is our featured product in Canada is greens. In the US, it's Slim Hunger Control. We still have the convention contest going. How many people almost did a little eyeball pop when the double credits rolled in from last month? Just think about that for next month, because this month is double credits for the Mexico contest. So try not to confuse them. We have two contests going at once. Convention contest is for all of Plexus. The Mexico contest is a Canada only promo. So we're trying not to confuse those. It's kind of a double whammy though, because all of the work that you're doing is going to two places, which is incredible. So like I said, double enrollment credits this month for the Mexico contest. And there's still so much time for the convention contest. We still have the rest of this month and March and April. Amazing. So exciting. So exciting. And then I think that's basically it.
Feel Good February is still on. That group is going. So for those of you that are in there, there's some really, yeah, the bingo. There's some really good bingo. Where'd I leave my? Oh, I left mine in the kitchen because I was working on it. Put in the chat of, if you're in there, put in the chat of one that is stumping you, because there were several that were like, oh, I'm gonna have to be intentional on that one, right? I don't have mine in front of me right now, but share one. It's really good. We have Ramona doing a special feature today, but I think she wasn't quite ready. Oh, there she is. Awesome. I'm going to pin you and you can unmute and take it away.
Okay. I think I'm ready anyways. It's as ready as I can be. I'm just finding a spot here. Yeah, so I just want to talk quickly about some release that you can do, some self-care tips. And I won't spend a lot of time because there's hours and hours of things you can do. But I was thinking just quickly things that would do with our core area and affecting our digestion. So sometimes we can have tight low back muscles and referred pains, even through the kidney areas and things like that to the low back. So there's a lot of things that can affect our low back internally. It's not always just tight muscles and fascial things, but there's also in the pelvic core, again, there's hours of things we can talk about, and related to deep breathing and releasing things. Sometimes we just keep things really tight, and that can affect our digestion. Um, sorry again, this is last minute, so I didn't totally prepare, and I'm not sure where to put.
It's totally good. Take your time, put us somewhere, and then you can show us. That's perfect.
I
That's
can't really see, but I'm on my phone, so anyway, so there's just a few I'll show you, and I'll just demonstrate really quick. I don't know if you've used foam rollers or balls before. Some of you maybe have, some of you haven't. But oh, there, I can see myself now. It's a weird angle. But without going into tons of time, basically you're giving yourself a massage. So if you've had a massage before, hopefully you've had someone who explains about the different types of massage you can get and how to release the tension on your own. But one way of doing that on your own is using a foam roller or the balls, different size of balls. You can use tennis balls. This is about a tennis ball size, but the rubber ones aren't as slippery. For floor surfaces, a lot of people don't have carpet anymore, and so certain balls will slip more, and then also against the wall. I can show you lots of different ways, but for today, even just to start with, well, sometimes people just call it your psoas, but it's not just psoas. But anyway, your deep hip flexor muscles. If you go and touch the front of your bones right here and just get your fingertips just inside there, and then if you kind of lean forward a bit to get in there or bend the knee, we want to get inside of those spots. I won't even get into the stretching part today, but we'll just show a couple of ways that you can release that. If you have a foam roller, you can get the edge coming across the body into that spot, or you can use a ball. And if you have like a yoga block or even a thick book, you can put that on top of it just to give a little bit more leverage. I'll show you with the foam roller here first. Anyways, kind of hard to see what I'm doing, but if you lean into that, sorry, right inside that hip bone, as I was saying, I don't know if you can see that. And what I like to do is I like to find those tight, sensitive areas, and then I like to just hold them and deep breathe and let my body weight just kind of soak into that. And you're going to put more body weight in if you want more pressure, and you're going to lift your body weight off it when you want less pressure. That's how you adjust it. It's just, again, like somebody, like a massage therapist giving you a massage and adjusting the pressure. You're just doing it to yourself. And I will hold it for whatever amount of time feels right. So it's not just 5 seconds or a minute or whatever. I just follow what my body's feeling. If I'm on there for a good 30 seconds and I'm feeling like it's really intense, then I might go to another spot and just move a little bit, find another spot, hold it, deep breathe. The deep breath is really important, and let it relax and release. If you hit what's called a trigger point, so if it refers pain somewhere else, it's not just sensitive where you're pushing. Sometimes it can feel like a little nerve response. Sometimes it can be a nerve if you're hitting the nerve, but often it's a trigger point referral. And so that's just showing that there's a lot of tension in there to release. So you want to hold that pressure and let that referral fade away. And that's how you know that the tension is going away. You can do the same with the ball as you do the foam roller. You're going to get it inside that hip area. You can do it right on the floor. Depending on your body size, you might need a little more leverage. So again, I'm going to just lean right into that. I know it's kind of hard to see, but you get the gist of that. And then again, rolling around, hitting those different spots. So these muscles in the deep hip flexors, your iliopsoas, iliacus, those muscles in there are actually, they go through the hip area deep in there and attach to your low back and can really pull in there. It can rotate, help the rotation in the hips moving. That some people need an adjustment in that case too, because they're just getting locked in there. Sometimes just releasing the tension isn't enough. But anyway, there's lots I can say about that. But so if you're having issues in the low back, if you're having constipation, one thing to think about is releasing that tension. People often forget about releasing in there. There's abdominal massage we can get into as well. Here I was going from your right inside that hip bone again, right up underneath your rib cage, over top the belly button and down the left. You want to follow the digestive tract. And the other thing with constipation and getting things moving is the sacrum. So right below the spine, you want to just kind of massage that and into the glutes. You can rub it, you can push on it with these gadgets or anything too. And then in the low back too, you can rub and you can push and you can stimulate, stimulating on the tummy as well. I know I used to do that with our son when he was little. And then as he was growing up one time, I said, what are you doing? And he was sitting on the toilet and he was hitting himself like this, but really hard. I'm like, what are you doing? Anyway, he's like, I can't poop. But yeah, so even kids, they can learn all these little tips and tricks at a young age. It's not just for adults. But hopefully that helps. It's just a few little things to work on. And at any time, if you have any questions and want to learn those kinds of things or a certain area of the body, just feel free to reach out to me because I love showing that stuff.
This is so good because just last week, Friday, I had a massage on the psoas muscles and just in the glutes and everything, right? It's so helpful for someone to show you just how to target different areas. Like, I vote Ramona comes again. Like, show us more tips and ideas because there's so many things that you can do at home, right? And sometimes we just need someone to show us. Like, I know like a lot of people struggle with head and neck or our head, like neck and shoulders, right? Like, just to know how to do the right stretches and how to do them correctly is so important. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I just wanted to say too, you don't have to have, like, if you're like, I don't have a foam roller or a ball or whatever, you don't need to have that. Like yeah, I push into all kinds of edges, corners, anything. I get the wooden spoons out to the spatulas. The kitchen often has really good, gadgets and things. I have in my, I have rocks. I'm a rock lover. Rocks are tools and they're really good for digging and pushing on points. So, but I can show for another day. Sorry, I can go on. I'll stop.
Do not apologize. That was really good. I think it is a topic that people always want to know more about, right? Because if you're dealing with any level of pain, you're like, how can I make this go away? And sometimes it's not that hard. It's just a matter of knowing what to do. So we're definitely going to have you back. Thank you so much, Ramona. All right, tonight we're going to talk a little bit and just put a 1 in the comments if you have previously heard of the 4 pillars of growth in your business. That is our topic for tonight that we're just going to start on a little bit. I'm not going to dig into every one of them. I'm going to give you an overview and just basically lead into where we want this to take us, and self-awareness, right? Self-awareness is always your step into knowing what to do next. So we're all here with goals and dreams. We, often start with energy and a strong will that will conquer anything. And we're like, I got this, right? And we see the possibilities. We think and dream of all the things that we're going to accomplish and do, and that it'll be ours to live, because that's what we're here for. We're here with a strong why. We want to know that it can happen for us. Your dreams are real, right? And so what we had never imagined to become real, this really sat with me today when I was thinking about sharing this, all of a sudden looks like it will. It can really fuel your desire to work hard. And we achieve a certain level of success and we, kind of pound away at it and thinking that if I just work harder, it'll happen, right? Anybody ever thought like that? Definitely, I have had seasons of that. I'll just work harder. They say if I don't quit, it'll happen, right? But nothing happens by itself if we don't learn the skills and teach ourselves to perfect these skills, because we're naturally going to be good at some things and not as good at others. And that doesn't mean that you're not good. And that doesn't mean that you're not going to accomplish your dreams. It just means that you have some skills to learn, right? And so it's easier to do the things that we are good at, right? It's always easier to sit down and let's do the things that are fun. Let's do the things that are easy. Let's do those first. And we avoid the other things because, well, first of all, if something is hard, it'll be uncomfortable. And over this last week, I've been really digging into discomfort, growth, and just how the mind works in those areas, and being aware of what it feels like to really push yourself into growth of where you haven't been before. And that's a very big self-awareness piece, because if you just think, oh, I don't like doing this, and then stop doing it, you don't recognize that it's actually you making yourself grow or you making yourself avoid growth. It's either or, right? And being uncomfortable usually means you're doing something that you're not very good at, or you might feel a little bit stupid or think that you might look foolish, right? And it feels awkward. It doesn't feel comfortable because we haven't made it easy yet. So we revert back to what we know how to do well, because that's easy. And I at least want to do something today. So I'm just going to do what's easy, right? Well, in the 4 pillars of growth, we're going to have to work on all 4 pillars in order to make your business successful. And then we need to recognize of where we need to take our growth and use that growth in order to build our business in those areas, because we're going to need all the growth in each one of those areas. Okay, I'll just give a brief overview of all of them. And I'm just going to say this. One or more of these pillars could be the reason of why you're feeling stagnant or struggling. You might use the terms of, I feel stuck, right? So it could be one or more of these pillars. So pay attention to, as I'm going over these, as we're exploring the 4, it'll give you an idea of where you feel your comfort, of what you're avoiding, of possibly maybe of where you're struggling, right? And don't attach meaning to what you're feeling, because your feelings aren't really facts. Those are just emotions that come up as you're attempting to learn this new skill. And so when you feel like, I don't like doing this, why am I posting that? I don't want to post that. Or if you're reaching out to someone and you're rereading your message 15 times and saying, oh, why did I say that? That sounds stupid. All those things are just creating emotions as you're learning to dig into more growth. And just be aware and tell yourself, that's okay. I'm growing. This is what it takes to grow. Like nothing easy happens in growth. And I'm sorry to tell you that, but it is the truth. If you plant a potato and stick it into the ground and tell it to grow, do you know that it has to work really hard to get those shoots up and throughout the dirt, and then the roots down into the dirt? The whole potato has to change and die in order for the seed to grow. So if you've ever pulled out potatoes, I'm using gardening illustrations here because it's been winter forever and I've been really dreaming of gardening already. But this came to me today and I thought, if you pull out a potato plant, more times than not, you'll still find the piece that you planted. And you'll find all the new potatoes around it and that one little dead piece in the middle. You are going to be that dead piece in the middle. And that's why when you're reading or learning about personal growth and they talk about you have to die to your old self to become your new self, and you're like, what the heck does that mean? Envision that potato, if that makes sense to you, because you are changing and growing and doing things that you haven't done before, right? And so I'm going to pull out my script here that I had for our 4 pillars. And like I said, this is a basic overview. Over the next while, we're going to be digging into more of each one of these. And we have a little bit of a plan that I'm going to add on the end of what we're looking forward to doing with you guys. And know that, like I said already, when these feelings come up, I'm reading some of your comments, know that you can tell yourself, oh, that means I'm growing. You don't look stupid. You don't look foolish. You might feel awkward. That's okay. That's okay. You're doing more than the person that isn't doing anything. Think about that, right? Okay, so far, you've got the vision and you know why you're doing this, okay? You've got the goal breakdown, you've got your action plan, and then you're like, what do I do? Deer in the headlights. You sit down at your computer and you're like, okay, I'm going to work now. But what am I doing? I'm going to look for people to talk to. Well, who am I going to talk to? What am I going to say? Your brain is going to be your greatest enemy or your biggest ally. And you can make it to be whatever you want. So think of your hand, and your 4 fingers represent the 4 pillars of this business, okay? So we're going to talk about recruiting, retention, duplication, and leadership development. If I were you, I would write these down if you haven't before. Because these 4, if you have them, like say on a paper in front of you, in your notebook when you're sitting down to work, your brain is going to work differently when you think, oh, what am I working on? Which of these 4 pillars am I actually working on today? Because it'll create awareness of what you're actually doing. What you're actually doing is the sending messages, having conversations, posting and reaching out to new people, making sure that your customers are taken care of, making sure that they're coming back, talking to people about sharing. All those things are actually IPA, right? And if you don't really understand what IPA means, it just means doing the consistent income producing activities. So these are actions that are actually going to bring income to your life. And then we want to break it down and help you to look at where you want to spend your time and your energy on, right? And so if you think about your thumb, you hold up your hand, you have the 4 levels of the 4 pillars of growth in your business. Your thumb is actually not a pillar. It's not, sorry, networking is your thumb. Okay? Networking is building your network of connections. These are the people that you are focusing on, that you're going to grow your business with, whether they be new prospects, whether they be customers, whether they already be team members. Your thumb is your network. And it's not considered to be a pillar in the business because that is your personal investment that you bring to the table, okay? It's a very fundamental part. Very, very fundamental part, because we all hold a certain amount of influence. Regardless if you are a mom at home with little babies and you say, well, I talk to no one, you still have influence. You have friends, you have a family, you have extended connections to wherever your life leads. And whether that may be down to the lady that you pick up eggs for, or the lady that, you know, meets you at the church nursery, wherever you go, you still do have influence. So never think that you don't, okay? You don't get paid by Plexus to network. That's what we bring to the table. You start getting paid by Plexus when you recruit. And all of us at one point or another have had to grow our network and develop those skills. And networking can be as simple as talking to the friend on the phone and telling her, this is really what's helped me a lot. Like, I feel like I can actually like function during the day because these supplements have helped me. That's networking, right? It's telling your mom, hey, I no longer have yeast infections. Did you know that? That's networking. You really, really have to simplify it, because networking is having conversations, building friendships, right? And so really bring that down to any level of where you are talking to people. And then that's where you're starting to develop your skills, right? And if you need to focus on networking, then talk to your leaders, talk to, whoever can help you with this. And there's so many resources out there of how we can network in Plexus. Watch videos, learn, immerse your brain into things that is really, really going to help you to understand and see and be aware of all the opportunities to network. One amazing book that you can bring into your life is How to Win Friends and Influence People. It is a book that I feel like every person on earth needs to read at least about every 5 years, because it'll reevaluate the amazing amount of connections that we miss if we're not looking for them, right? So that's something to kind of think about as we're starting to look into the 4 pillars. Your network is the people that you talk to. So it's time to identify what you're going to focus on in your pillars, okay? So what pillars are you strong in? Remember, we're talking about the 4 pillars of growth and development: recruiting, retention, duplication, and leadership development. Okay, what pillars are you strong in? What pillar is going well? This is where you're feeling like it's easy. This is where you're like, okay, I got this. Yeah, this is the fun part of, they say this business is supposed to be fun, right? So let's do the fun part first. It's easy to fall into that. Just because it's hard doesn't mean it's not fun. Hard can be fun too, right? Hard isn't bad. What pillar do you need to grow in more? And what pillars are holding you back? These are very good personal questions to ask yourself, right? And so here's some examples. Recruiting is the most obvious one to identify whether you're weak or strong in, right? That's very obvious if people are recruiting or not, but digging into the sub pillars below will help you to uncover what specific part is actually holding you back. So is it because you are struggling to invite them to check out Plexus? Struggling with what to share, a mix of stories or information, struggling to follow up, struggling to close, struggling to gain influence. These are all things that we can look at when it comes to recruiting. So if in the last 3 months, 80% of your new VIPs are still using the products, then you are doing very well in retention, because recruiting is married to retention. Let's remember those two. That's the longevity of your business, right? So if you want to go and do some homework tonight after we're done and look at your VIPs of the last 3 months, so last 90 days, look at your VIPs that you brought into this business and how many of them are still using the products and are still consistent, growing in their health journey, okay? Happy VIPs become biz builders. Always remember that. We're growing them in that direction. Not everybody starts off wanting to share. Some people are happy product users for a long time before they start to decide to share. And then all of a sudden they're like, hey, I've got my mom on the phone. Can you talk to her? Yes, by all means. It happens out of the blue sometimes. Sometimes they're like, I can share, I can tell people. Sometimes they're ready right off the bat. But we are the ones that are walking the trail with them to get them there, right? Okay, so if you are recruiting if you're recruiting every month, okay, every month you're bringing in new people, but you're not building silvers, and less than 10% of your new VIPs have referred anyone. Okay, so we're really talking to at least one person. We're really talking to our new VIPs about bringing in one person, right? Who's your plus one? Who's your friend? Who do you do things with? Who would you like to be accountable to? All those things. Then you probably need to work on duplication, because it's obvious that you're good at recruiting, but maybe not at duplicating, right? If you have silvers that want to keep growing, then leadership development is where you want to focus. If you're doing all of this well, but you're not reaching your goals, then we go back to recruiting, but maybe level it up, change up who you are looking for. Okay, who are we bringing into this business? Okay, so you have identified what pillar to work on, to focus on today. And then let's see a little bit in the sub pillars of potentially there might be some specific things that are holding you back. And remember, these are just point form. I can share them later, but this is just to get your brain rolling and understanding of how we want to really focus in on our IPA to grow the business in the solid foundation of these 4 pillars. Because if we're building a table with just 1 or 2 legs, it's not going to be terribly stable, right? We want a very solid, stable table with all the pillars. Okay, recruiting. Are we posting? Are we inviting? Are we sharing Plexus? Are we following up and closing? There's so much information out there right now on our Go app with the guides and everything. It's perfectly laid out for you. Perfectly laid. If you're ever stuck in a conversation, then just think to yourself, where can I go look to see how I can respond? There's so many examples of how you can respond, okay? Retention, the first 30 to 90 days, your check-ins and progress and expectations. Inspire by plugging them in. I think it was Val that brought a new friend today. Welcome, Amanda. Sorry, I wanted to say hi before already. That's awesome. Bring your new friends to team call, right? Bring your friends that are just starting out and say, hey, come sit here with us, see what we're all about. And this is what you could do too. And we're vision casting because we're the ones that have already done more than what these new people have. So we want to bring them in and show them what's possible, right? And we want to invite them to more. And then duplication, we're going to be talking about uncovering their why and goals. Because now we're starting to see, oh, there's actually more here. There's more than I thought was here. There's more that I can share, right? And then we really get hands-on with our VIPs, walk with them, and we're going to help them launch an event. You could do a messenger chat for them. You could go to their house, invite a couple of friends over, have a night with some pink drink, share some stories, get her friends connected, right? In-person events, honestly, are amazing. I feel like people now more than ever are starting to come back into like a lot of physical connection. They want to be together. There's so much virtual. I love doing virtual, the fact that we can get together like this. But if you have an opportunity to do in person, by all means do it. And then come and plug them in to the IPA and work together as a team because they're going to be inspired. And I feel that accountability always when I know that other people are working with me, I better show up too, right? And then leadership development, this is you. This is you growing you, because in order for you to help other people grow, you're going to have to grow yourself first. You're the lid that's on your people, right? And the higher that you lift your lid, the higher your people are going to come with you. So we're passing on ownership, taking ownership of our own business. This is your business. You get to build this the way that you want to. We're creating culture. We're building friendships. I love the culture that our team has, simply because we're all here and we're rising and lifting each other. That's a huge part that so many people do not get in other businesses. And many don't even just get, encouragement daily. Like, always consider the value of being in our chats, because it's such a good place where you can come and be an encouragement. And guess what? Some days you're going to show up and you're going to be really encouraged by someone else doing that because they felt led to share. So if you feel led to share in our chats, by all means, come and show up and share that. Coaching and training biz builders, because we have a lot that we can do together for the people that are here for the business and working together, and back office and ranking up. Great back office training going on right now. I think it's Wednesday that they're doing the next one again, just to get more familiar with what they're doing in our new virtual office and becoming very aware of what's all there for you to teach your people. That's leadership development, okay? And so identify the pillars that you're strong in, know where you're good at, focus on where you want to grow. Now, this doesn't come with any Be sensitive to yourself as you're thinking about which pillars do you need to work on. Do not shame. Don't think, oh, I'm awful at that. I'm never going to get as good as such and such, you know. Don't allow your mindset to take you down. Think positively that this is where I can grow in. This is where I can show up and I can teach myself to grow in, right? And I feel like there's always going to be at least one or more pillars, depending on where your business is at, of where you can actually come and grow to the next level all the time. So it's not I'm going to grow and then I have arrived. I, as a diamond, am always seeking to grow in certain places more and more because the team is always changing. I'm always bringing in new people. There's always more leaders rising up, and it's always a place of where I can learn more, right? And so we have been talking about, I'm going to let Sheila share a little bit on this as well yet, but this is kind of where this was leading. We have been talking about doing an IPA chat, but it's going to be you showing up for your own accountability and each of us bringing that accountability into the chat, because exactly for that reason, taking ownership and knowing when you show up authentically. So it's not about taking an IPA sheet and saying, oh, check, check, check. Now my business is going to grow. Your business is not going to grow if you check boxes on a paper. I'm sorry to tell you that, but your business will grow when you authentically and genuinely show up and do the work of reaching out and touching people, influencing them with the gifts that you have, showing up for them, showing up for your sidelines, and growing yourself. Then your business is going to grow exponentially. So I'm going to let Sheila fill in a little bit on her thoughts on this, and then we're going to end with some plans.
Okay. So sometimes it can feel a little bit like a fire hose. When you sit and you take in all the information, just know you can always go and watch the recording again and then take notes, because that's the best way to learn, is to take it in a few times and then implement the few things that you learn and then repeat. That's how we learn. You're not going to learn everything in one day. You're not going to learn everything overnight. It's going to take time, and you get to have grace with that. And just remember that one step ahead every day counts. It really counts. So recently, there's been a lot of talk about knowing why you're doing this and being driven because of your why. And I love that, because I do think it's incredibly necessary. But one thing that I found is that even when we're just focused on the why we're doing this, sometimes we also need the how and the steps to get there. The guideline per se. We need them both. And I found this with myself. So when Amber was training on this, on working from your passion and your fire, I was like, yes, I need that. But then I would sit down and I felt like pew pew, there go my brain cells, because I have 10 loads of laundry waiting outside the door, and my kids are still yelling that they want another snack, even though they had one 5 minutes ago. And I'm supposed to print another 10 coloring pages because that's what I do all day. Okay, sure. Then I revert to the things that I find easy. I find posting on social media easy. I find reaching out to new people not as easy. That's something that I have to work harder at. Now, if I work for my passion, I can do a lot of social media posting and not a lot of reaching out to people. That's where I end up. And so I felt that, yes, I want to work for my passion. I want to work for my why. I want that. But I also needed a guideline. I needed a sheet, a paper, a whatever that kept me on track, so that I could look back and say, okay, I talked to 3 new people today. I made a post. I reached out to a few of my team members, and I checked into my back office to see who had lost their perks or who had a credit card decline. I have done my work today, instead of going willy-nilly and not feeling like I really have direction. I feel like we need both. We need that passion to know why we're doing this, but we also need that guideline to know how much we're doing. Because at the end of the day, yes, this is a numbers game. I will never forget Jessica Heffley standing up in front of convention and saying, the only reason I'm here and you're out there is because I talk to more people. That is what it is at the end of the day. And so in order for me to know and to stay on track with how many people I do talk to, I needed a guideline. So I sat down and I said, what am I going to do? Well, I kept it simple and I went back to a good old IPA sheet. That's what I did. And it has kept me, it's called a habit tracker, but I have Monday to Saturday and I have my things that I achieve every day because this keeps me on track. This helps me with the passion of knowing why I'm doing this, get further. This helps me take those steps ahead. Now, one thing I want to, like Mom just talked about was you can get an IPA sheet. And if you don't have the desire of knowing where you're going, you might just fill it out and say, comment on two people's posts, say, yep, talk to two people. But you don't actually really put in all of the effort that you know you could. That was me for a long time. I had an IPA sheet. I wanted to do all the things. I wanted to show up, but part of me was holding back and I wasn't allowing myself to fully step out in vulnerability and be open with the people that I was sharing with. So I kind of did it with a wall up. I kind of did it in a way that was half donkeying it. That's how I kind of did it. And I never got further because I wasn't giving it my full 100%. I wasn't giving it everything I could, which means if I'm doing a reach out, I'm not just sending a, hey, do you want to try Plexus? No, I am going to send them a voice message and say, do you know what? I have been watching you and following you for a while now. I love your passion. I love how you care about other people. And I'm looking for amazing women to join me in this business. Would you be open to having a conversation with me? I'm going to give it 110%. I'm going to show them that I'm here for this. That is going to get checked off on my paper. That is going to make me move me forward into where I want to go and help me reach the goals and places that I want to be. And so that takes us all back to what Mom was talking about and this challenge that we want to do. Well, they're not really a challenge, just a chat. We want to come to a place where we all come together and we are accountable to each other, where we can show up at the end of the day and say, this is what I did today. This is what I found difficult. This is what I found easy. Here I need some more help. Does anybody have any encouragement or guidance for me? Because this is a non-judgmental zone. We are all learning together. And we're in some areas where I'm pointing this way, because Ramona's on that side of me, where Ramona excels, I have work to do. But I have other areas where I excel, where that she doesn't find as easy. And that's why when we come together and we work together, we are stronger together. When Mom and I sit down, we think differently. And when I bounce my ideas off of her, she says something, I'm like, oh, I never even thought of it that way. Or I say something and she says the same thing because we need each other. And so that's the whole purpose of what we want to do. And I think it's gonna be good. I'm gonna hand it back to you, Mom.
Perfect. That was really good. I feel like there's a lot that we can add to this, but I don't want to really fill in the blank. I feel like you guys know already what you're going to be working on. And
Mhm.
sometimes I feel a little bit resistant on putting myself into accountability, but I know the difference it's going to make. So last month with the challenge, the good gosh, my brain just lost what was the January challenge? 25 hard. That there were some things that I looked at the paper and I thought 25 grams of protein for each meal, Marge. Come on, be honest with yourself. Because that's not normally my diet. And I struggle to eat protein. And I knew that little voice inside of my head was really telling me this was not going to be easy, and the rest didn't really bother me. I can challenge myself, but there's always certain things that you feel are a little bit harder than others. Those are exactly the ones that you probably want to focus on first. And then you're going to bust past that wall. And instead of coming up against it constantly, backing away and avoiding it, you actually are going to break through and make progress. And if I'm, thinking for the rest of you, we're all here for progress. That's why we're here. We want to accomplish that next goal. We're working towards our dreams of accomplishing what we're here for. And that's why we put things like this together. And so we're going to get this posted in the next week. Like for this weekend, a whole bunch of us are leaving on the cruise. Cannot wait to see you guys. I'm getting so excited. I got my suitcase out today. I'm leaving on Thursday already, so I have to get ready. We're still going to keep this going. We're going to hold you guys accountable to whoever else wants to join, whoever else is in there, because each one of us is accountable to ourselves, right? It is your business, you taking ownership of your business. I still always try to do some work, even though I'm on a vacation, because I find it so hard to turn off when I'm in the greatest opportunity that people can see what Plexus gives us. And so a lot of these trips are 100% social networking and really, really growing my network. It's led me to bring ambassadors in from all over the world, like just different places of where we have traveled to. So that's always my goal, is to still keep working regardless if I'm on vacation. That's the beauty of having Plexus vacations. So that was that for tonight. Next week, I think Colleen and Melinda are going to take over team calls, so it would still be going. We're going to see if we can get on. Not sure where we're going to be at that time. We'll see what's happening. And yeah, cannot wait to work from the beach. See, that's a really good, yeah, that's going to be really good. Any thoughts on that? Do you guys have anything that you wanted to add to that, or any thoughts that came up for you? Does it seem scary? Does it seem like, oh, this is exactly what I needed?
I think it's nice to have those reminders because we get so busy, so carried away, and distractions are always going to be there. So we need to make sure that we can make time to pay attention to the distractions, deal with them, and then we need to block the time that we need to block to make sure that we give our 100% to our teams, because if we don't, how will they do it for themselves, right? So I'm just really excited to get back to work, actually.
That's a really good point. Our teams watch how we work,
Mhm.
right? That's a really good point. If you show up for them, they'll show up for you. Love that. All right. Thanks for coming, guys. It was good seeing you. Have a great Monday. Tomorrow night is social media training by Lori and Amber, and you know those guys do it the best, so you don't want to miss that one. I already posted that, but that's going to flow perfectly into this as well. All right. See you there. Take care.
See ya.